into his hands, taking it away from Yagao, who had it in the previous game.
So what that means is you can't just slam in a Vi Ahri on 1-2 from BLG, one of the strongest mid jungles of the year and of last year, of course. It's been around for a little while now. So Shun going to pick up that Vi. Didn't quite find the killer engages that they wanted to in that first game. The Aphelios locked in, though, will give Alk again another run at that champion. There is something like the Aphelios Lulu on the table. Zyrakan is not. Really wondering what the bot lane priorities are coming in from both of these teams. Kanavi hovering that Wukong. Best Wukong in the world. I'd definitely say that. Many others would too. He is such a teamfight menace on that. That's a very strong mid-jungle 2v2, even in the Ahri Wukong, even though it's not paired up with the Vi.
Yeah, still a phenomenal duo. Still a lot of presence in the early game as well. As the Varus being hovered over, I don't think it'll be locked in. Like, we already saw the Zeri hovers. Zeri just such a strong champion currently. I feel like that has to be where you go. On the side of BLG, though, do they look to get a mid laner here before the bans come on through? Because in fact, it's actually Rakan taken.
The thing is, On is a player that will play Rakan in any lane, in any given situation. He played the Thresh, of course, in game 1. I think that On, when he has an engaged champion, looks like a very different kind of player. He is one of our premier supports in the LPL. He's risen to prominence, especially over the course of this year. Thinking about other Vi combos, this is a pretty good Vi combo into the Ahri. If you do manage to get on top of them, it can be a very difficult situation. I'm expecting now Knight will have to go for the spellbook, taking a cleanser and exhaust or something to deny the combo into the Vi and the Talia. Definitely helps you lock down that first target.
Certainly does. And on top of that, it's a pick that Yagao's played a lot of over the years. Like, Yagao certainly no stranger to the Talia. Same for Knight, honestly. I feel like both of these players have had a fair bit of that across the years. Jinx banned away. It's going to be answered with a Gwen taken out of the hands of Bin.
Okay, so that means that you're likely heading towards something like a tank matchup. And look, it's 369. We're going to have a tank matchup at top side anyway. It just stops the premier anti-tank being locked in for the side of Bin. K'Sante, huge pick ban presence in the LPL, hasn't featured just yet. Wouldn't be surprising if JDG wanted to do away with that one as well. They could also ban away Nautilus if they were feeling like removing another pick which can synergize very well with the Aphelios and also the Talia in the mid lane. So they have options here with this last ban.
Certainly do. Nautilus. So, hard engaged. Kind of denied from On, right? We saw him on the Thresh in the previous game. And perhaps this is how the draft went for that previous game. We didn't actually get to see it, but On was on the Thresh. It was alongside this Aphelios. That could be an option again for the side of BLG if they want to go in that direction. Oh, I'm here for it. Do you want to go for this before you even know what AD carry you're against?
I guess they do, Munch. I guess they do. Locks that in. We've been seeing a lot of the Blitzcrank coming out from various LPL teams. Typically, it comes into different enchanters. The Rakan, you can 100 to 0 him if he's out of position. He's a little harder to kill than someone like a Milio or a Yuumi out of position. But it's still value nonetheless, and especially at the level 1, it can give you early game dominant plans, which is what we need to see out of BLG. Gives them the tools to start things off well early.
Phenomenal stuff. If we get to see some shenanigans. I feel like with a fight and a Blitzcrank, like, BLG, they have the tools to go real aggressive, to do some crazy stuff. Are we actually going to see the Varus coming on through? I guess so.
It's dangerous into Blitzcrank. It's really dangerous into Blitzcrank. That'll be a bit different. Because you are a low mobility champion.
Ezreal's really good into Blitzcrank. However,
not
many people playing Ezreal right now.
Oh, the Kai'Sa!
I've been asking for Kai'Sa for weeks! I keep on talking about Kai'Sa in drafts. It's usually alongside the Nautilus, but hey, with a Rakan, I'm here for it.
We are in for such a treat now. And what this means is, what were we talking about at the end of game 1? JDG, awesome at reassessing a fight midway through. Kai'Sa adds so much ability to join the rest of your team across the fight. We're seeing some hybrid Kai'Sa builds coming out as well. We've seen the likes of some Static Shiv into Nash's and some various other builds. Very interested in seeing what Ruler's take on the champion is, especially because you've got to cut through this cat tank in the top side as well, and the Malphite locked in for Bin. How different has his champion pool been since coming into this championship of summer? Ruler now has to deal with that tanky front line.
He certainly will. And the Kraken Slayer, I feel like, has been... The problem is, we've had 3 patches, right? 13, 10, 11, and 12. where the AD carry items are all dramatically different. It's getting really hard to remember all of the optimum builds while the live patch is not the same as the current competitive patch. I believe on 13.11, it's like Kraken Slayer, because this is post Stormrazor nerf, right? I'm pretty sure it's Kraken Slayer first on Kai'Sa. Into the Gale Force, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the thing is...
But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, because a lot of the builds that we're seeing in solo queue are about static Shiv, and despite this not being the patch where it's been completely buffed, I think that's 13.12 where it comes through, you can still build it. It's still fine. We saw Humanoid play it on LeBlanc in mid lane, even before that buff, and it did so much damage in that game. This is our first Kai'Sa of summer across the top leagues. I don't believe we've seen another one. It's only our second Taliyah of the entire LPL as well. Xiaohu played a single game of it against top esports, but this is the first time it's been picked up by anyone else. So, a bit of adaptation, a bit of new spark to light the fire for Game 2.
And I want to mention that Taliyah again. I said during Champ Select, like, this is kind of a classic Yagao pick. Well, it's one of his highest win rates of everything he's played. If you look at champions that he's got double-digit games on, the only champions with win rates above this are Veigar and Yasuo, where he's got 16 and 12 games respectively and 75% win rates. On Taliyah, he's got 35 games played, and he won 26 of them. He is a monster on the Taliyah, and alongside Shun's Vi, like, you have the perfect setup. Yagao, look for the plays around the map, look for how he influences the other lanes, because that is how you can set yourself apart on this pick.
Yagao gets himself a Mana Flow ban stack. The game is over. What do you do in this laning phase now? So, Knight, he's actually taking the Electrocute on the Ahri. I'm actually a fairly big fan of Ahri into Vi combos as well as with the Vi, because you can dash back and flash back, draw the Vi out of position if you have your tools available. However, not having the spellbook means that occasionally you can get locked up and killed 100-0 in the way that we saw Rookie, unfortunately, suffer that a little earlier into the day. We're getting our jungle starts completely unread from both of these teams. You'll know by the fact that these lanes are going to be a little slower to the punch in different ways. So junglers not going to meet each other on the first clear very early on.
No, they're going to be playing opposite to start us off. Let's talk overall game plan then for BLG, because this comp has got real wacky. After game number 1, they've gone, look, we need more rocks. Malphite in the top side, Taliyah in the mid lane. And, you know, they say a rolling golem gathers no rust, I guess. Maybe there's something about Moss there. Elk in trouble, ignited. I feel like every single game we see aggressive level 1s in these bottom lanes, but Elk will survive. Used his ghost there as well. Perhaps thought it was cleanse.
I think he just wanted to get away from Ruler because he was very close to getting the passive proc. You get surprised by that amount of damage, and now level 2. And the damage you can get out of Kai'Sa very early is very, very high. And despite Kai'Sa being a champion that often has difficult laning phases, the fact that Ruler and Missing have managed to get the push and managed to win the early trade is very important for JDG. And now this is a very dangerous moment where Elkanon needs to start weathering the storm again.
Shun knows what's up. And we have a 1v1 between the junglers. Kanavi not winning this one out, though. Shun bullies him out. Yagao was moving, but spotted on a ward by Knight. Elk under the tower, but so low on HP. Still has his flash available. Look at this, though. JDG, they're like, sod the bottom lane. We're going to go kill your jungler. On force to flash. And now blue buff under threat. The Scryer's Bloom should be used here to clear that ward. Vision available for BLG as Shun really doesn't want to lose his blue buff, but the hook wide. I think On was trying to pull the buff in so they could smite it, but will not happen. And JDG already 3 minutes in finding advantages.
Being able to push that wave so hard under the turret, and then also Ruler. The W from Kai'Sa at rank 1 is a long cooldown. It's 20-odd seconds or something like that. Hits both of his first cooldowns of the game onto Elk. Good damage. Stops the fellas being able to go into that fight as well. Knight had shove in the mid lane. JDG, early game working out well for them, where we had asked that from BLG for their own successes.
So far, so good for JDG. We'll see what BLG can bring to the table. As Shun put behind a little bit, moves up to the top side, but Kanavi's here too. Kanavi's got that top quadrant that he's yet to farm, and he's just been spotted. Did they see him is the question. Blue ping has gone towards that brush. How did the sweeper not see the ward? It was a micrometer away. 369 threatens Shun enough to send him away, send him packing. And Kanavi, what a jungle gap to start us off.
Double Scuttle steals away a buff. Shun currently at half of the camps that Kanavi has taken. And that's another flash in.
Flash for flash in the bottom side. Ruler doesn't even look at the play. Is missing. Pulled back in by On. The Igniter's there. It's not enough to find a kill. And ultimately,
very close.
I don't know, flash for flash with an Ignite mixed in there. Maybe BLG win out the trade, but I don't think they can leverage that advantage. So missing getting away should mean Ruler's safe. Unless...
Not quite. Not quite. What it does mean is it means that Alkanon can get themselves a reset, and it means that they've survived a bit of the storm of the early game. No, they couldn't respond to the early jungle plays, and it does mean that for them losing lane, Shun is the one that's kind of bearing the brunt of that at this point. Need to see them now kind of... It's a good charm. The electrocute, is it available? It's not. It's close.
Oh, the W! Not quite there. The electrocute, like you say, not available. Had it been up, that would have been a kill onto Yagao. And Knight, he said in the interview before this game, I could beat Yagao with a 1v1. It's not personal. I'll just body him. I don't think that's verbatim, but showing up in the mid lane. Priority pick, that Ahri, the B1 pick for JDG, and showing why.
Is Alkanon did not manage to reset after the play which just happened towards this bot side. Alk is going to be sat on the turret again. This is kind of dangerous now. On shows his face again, maybe baiting him under turret. Kenny the hook under turret.
Oh, they're just going to go into Elk though. Can he survive? No, first blood taken by Ruler. On just delivered Ruler to the kill.
No one to take an aggro. It's not like the minions were dead on the turret. Ruler and Missing once again winning out in the individual 2v2. We saw it with Desire Rakan versus the Aphelios Thresh. They're doing it again with the Kai'Sa and the Rakan as well. Whenever Kai'Sa wins lane, this champion changes massively. This is a champion which is not really meta because she suffers a lot in early lanes. Getting that first kill is very dangerous, and 369 going in top.
Ben's having none of it. Just slides over the wall and gets out to safety. Good attempt by 369, but just ult for ult. Minute and a half until the Herald comes up. But let's take another look at this kill in the bottom lane, because it looked so good for On until he realized he had abandoned his AD carry.
Dematerializer hook. It looked so beautiful, especially given the fact that Ruler didn't have mana for absolutely everything he wanted to cast. It's just not enough. It's a misdirection and it's a miscalculation of BLG, and Elk once again going to be set behind in the laning phase.
On wants to find Missing here, but Ruler's nearby. Missing can always just dash away. Rakan's so annoying to play against when you're playing a hook champion. He's so slippery, able to escape most situations. And you can see the CS lead, not that dramatic down in the bottom lane, but the kill will make all the difference. Elk going for the call. Oh, and JDG want to punish that. And they're like, oh, you got a cull? Well, we ain't letting you farm.
Had it as a starting item.
Look at
hoping that it's not the end of him as well. Everyone's going bot side. Yagao has the Weaver's Wall. He can turn up a little closer to this play. However, Knight with that first ult of the game. Watch out for that.
At minimum, they've denied away from Elk. Almost a second plate here for Ruler. If they can finish the job, Kanavi's here, Knight is here, Elk's in trouble. No summoners. The double knock him, and he's gone. He's gone before the play even kicks off. Kanavi tanking as a charm lands onto On as well. Knight tanks the tower. And somehow gets out.
Corrupting. That is why you keep your pots ticking, folks. Gets the empowered heal from the Ahri passive with the kills in tow. It's just enough to walk away. Walks away with 3 Dark Seal stacks, and Yagao was ready for the play. It just wasn't enough. Elk, once again, just put into such a difficult position because JDG are just more on the same page. They're more proactive, and they're punishing BLG in the early game once again.
Let's take another look. Kanavi starts it all off. Perfect follow-up from Missing.
And, you know, you just don't have enough defensive summoners to bring to bear. You don't have a heal, you don't have a cleanse, and well, the Ghost is nice when you're actually able to move. That one's not really in the same situation. Knight using, again, the HP bar as a resource, getting out alive, gets himself back onto the map with the cheaper Lost Chapter from recent buffs as well, and now Herald is the next port of call.
I felt a little dicey at the end there. They didn't actually reset the tower aggro. It went straight from Kanavi to Knight. Could have been dangerous. BLG will not give up just yet, though. They found Kanavi. What a pick from On. And now looking for a second one as well. 369 flashes out. Ruler's still going in this one, and a great charm onto On there. Big damage, but Ruler's alone. He can't enter this fight for the time being. Killer Instinct is available if the rest of the team can find a way in. But it's 4v5 in favor of BLG. That's starting the Herald off. Can they finish it, though, is
The
the
Hex
question.
Flash.
The CC chain is gorgeous. BLG just rinse and repeat on the target. He's the man to make it happen with the health bars low. It's 2v5 in the pit. Ruler and Knight against the world. Jumps over the wall. The killer instinct to find the kills. Double for Ruler.
still going.
Make it 3. How can you fight this god team? How can you fight against the might of JDG?
Ruler stamps his authority once more. We've had it for Spring, we had it for MSI. Ruler is here to stay. And he's 6-0 with 2 on Kai'Sa. That is horrifying to face as BLG.
It's feeling like this game might already be over. Look at the goal difference. 3, almost 4,000 in favor of Ruler. 6-0-2. He's going to head back. He's going to evolve his Q. And when the fights started so well for BLG, the hooks from On, the coordination was there. But when Knight and Ruler can 2v5, I mean, what can you do?
The big factor in this fight is that Ruler is left alone to stack lethal tempo. And he doesn't have to use his ult defensively. The combo's not onto the Kai'Sa. He has his Ghost and allows him to just get a lot of damage onto one of the people that has consistent DPS, and that's Yagao. He's continually peppering down, and despite the supporting cast of JDG eating a couple of hooks and going down, this is one of the real power points of lethal tempo. It gives you so many stats in the early game, despite the nerfs to that particular part of it so often. This is the special part of the play, though. He has it stacked up, and he goes over the wall. Doesn't dash straight into the middle of them. He still keeps his lethal tempo over. Blast going back into the play, still full stacks, has another cast of his Q. There is no way you can run from Ruler. Perfect positioning, perfect damage.
Who says Kai'Sa is a late game carry? Certainly not Ruler. Quadra kill coming through. Magnificent stuff. And I feel somewhat vindicated. I've been advocating for this Kai'Sa pick for a while now. Ruler brings it in
Can
and
confirm
makes
that.
it look
Cogmore's
glorious.
next one up.
Oh, here we go. Everfrost in the mid lane. Charm is going to land onto On as well. The damage is there, and it's an easy little pickup for Knight and Kanavi. Bonus kill there. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. We're only 11 minutes in.
For anyone who doesn't advocate for buying a Dark Cell in your first pack, this is the kind of game where it feels absolutely awesome. Your Kai'Sa is starting to become absolutely titanic. And with his Ahri in the mid lane, you can absolutely slam in a Magi second at this point to snowball the game even further. BLG, you know they're going to buy into fights time and time again. Get yourself a stopwatch, and Magi's, you are set to snowball the game into absolute oblivion. That is a Q upgrade. Very clearly on show from Ruler. So much AD, and Elk, despite being one of our other best AD carries in the LPL, has not had a single chance to fight.
I was almost right on the Kai'Sa build. It is the Kraken Slayer, but it's after you've got this array. There, oh, On in the last possible second. Denies the recall of missing. Quickness going to have to be used there, and that does mean BLG will get the first Drake of the game. So, silver lining there for the squad in blue. Whether or not they can turn it into anything more will be the question. And unsurprisingly, we're seeing some stats from Ruler, and rightly so. Definitely the man of the hour right now is missing, and Kanavi. They want Elk to try and greed for some plates. They want him to try and find some space in the lane. On is there, Elk moving forwards as well. But they know something's up. They suspected this may be happening.
Especially with Kai'Sa ult available. You can forget about that if you haven't played against the champion for a while, but any CC lens, she is following up like a storm. On has his ultimate too. Gonna do some poke on the tower. Single target Q onto that evolve. Very, very powerful. Herald is gonna give even more gold into the carry of Ruler.
Yeah, almost 3,000 gold lead at 13 minutes for Ruler. You just saw 625 gold into his pocket when that tower went down. Not too shabby on the Kai'Sa. He's only just got back to lane. He's already got 1,500 gold to spend. It's not bad, is it? Herald coming up in a couple of minutes, and that'll perhaps be the next objective for JDG. But whether or not they stay still for 2 minutes, I don't know.
I mean, they have the power to fight. Absolutely. Why shouldn't they? Plates are just falling off now, but JDG got 5 of them towards that bot side. Every time BLG take a fight now, they need to be very careful of double teleports available and the Kai'Sa being able to follow into these fights too. Missing as well. Should get to Scuttle Crab. Cool. Nice. Again, silver lining. But JDG have so many ways to respond to any fights and any picks, which BLG try to attempt themselves, this is going to be a very difficult mid-game. I think they probably need to take two-part fights, if at all possible. One, you want to try and blow the ability to respond with Kaiser ults and teleports and try and get out alive. That's the difficult part. And then you have to try and find a part after that where you can recommit to a fight. So BLG, they're going to be able to do that. It's a difficult ask.
Yeah, like they need to find a pick onto the right target is on. Feeling the brunt Rulers bring to the table. And you know that on that next recall, Ruler will either be able to finish off a second item with the serrated Dirk, but I think he'll go potentially for an attack speed item next so he can upgrade his E as well. Bin, we've seen this interaction before already this game. Ult for ult, he'll get out with his life. But I'm looking towards...
Static shift built up for the Aphelios as well. So he's basically said, you have Q upgrade on the Kaiser, that's huge wave clear. I need to have the wave clear as well to make sure that we can at least contest this mid wave. It's not something I've seen on the Aphelios just yet, but I think I can understand it from this point. You're going to be so far behind, and as you said, it is the attack speed item coming in from Ruler. Phantom Dancer on top of the Dirk in inventory, so the extra attack speed now built up for Ruler.
Yeah, not too shabby. 2 evolves at 15 minutes. This is like... Every Kaiser main is watching this game and salivating. Like, it really does not get better than this when you're playing on the Kaiser. Because it feels like, while Kaiser is one of these champions that can often be perceived as just a late game hyper carry, like in the mid game, when you get those evolves, they are massive, massive power spikes. To get them so early and at the same time, like, it's just so fun to watch. It's so fun to see such an incredible pilot using the champion as well. Ruler, really one of the greatest of all time at this point.
Another thing to salivate at. That's a Medjai's built up on Knight's Ari. We know how good he is at this champion. He is such a good snowball player off that mid lane pick. He's teleporting in towards mid lane. Second Herald going down. It's a late TP coming in from BLG. I don't think they want to fight around this. Might have just been a preemptive one to get Yagao back out onto the map. But any fight which happens now is going to be so explosive.
On looks like he wants it. Ruler with the evolved E turns invisible. That's hard to hit. His Herald immediately slammed in the mid lane. And now JDG try and find themselves some objectives. Shun is here. Yagao's TP means he's around on the play. Although I feel like he would have been there for the play had he not TP'd at this point. On really wants to find a hook, but he just doesn't have the space to work with is the problem. It's so difficult for him to find anything that's not in Fog of War because JDG just vision dominance.
There was one ward very briefly in that Pixel Brush, which On was trying to use, but movement speed from 10-stack Medjai's is fairly good at this point in the game. Tier 2 boots, Medjai's stacking as well. Means that Knight is not going to be easy to hit, especially once he pops that W Shun. Maybe he can look for a point and click with his ult somewhere, but you have to feel if Shun puts his ult onto someone, he's going to probably die on the engage if there's more than 2 people around from JDG.
Well, let's see what happens at this next Drake, because maybe trying to somehow stack Drakes is the win con for BLG at this point. It feels difficult to ever have any chance of contesting the Drake, though. Yeah, they are just going to bail on that one. Bin gets the chance to hit on this tower on the top side. Shun will help him out just to finish that objective off. At least they get something on the map. No loss bonus on this one, so the game not feeling that they're too far behind, I guess. They are 5,000 gold down at 18 minutes. I feel like that's lost bonus territory, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see when the bounties come through, especially with towers and more dragons coming through. Can't be far off. Got them very early into the game in game 1, but BLG, the one thing which they will always have to play around is solid pick combos. Problem is, JDG are very disciplined about the way they play the map. They rarely see themselves out of position for easy hooks to come through or easy Vi ultimates. Yeah, they're not infallible, even though it might seem like it. It very much seems like it in games like these. But if JDG put a foot wrong, BLG are a team which are very keen to punish enemies. So watch out for that blitz hook, to the Malphite ult over walls, and everything else that BLG have to hit the first target out of Fog of War.
Yeah. The thing is, BLG have still had moments where they look really good in this series, despite the fact that they have not been ahead in gold for a single second of this series, aside from maybe like by 20, you know, in the very first few seconds of laning phase. But it has been all about JDG. But all through game number 1, BLG looked really competitive. They were really fighting for every objective. They weren't just going to accept defeat. And with the Blitzcrank in the game, you never really can count you out. Like, if they get a big hook onto Ruler, They will one-shot him with an Aphelios. But Bin,
Wow.
not the champion you'd expect to be one-shot. He's going to be, though. It's the Ignite burning away. Knight can't quite finish the kill. As now the follow-up anti-engage, and Shun just taken for a ride, as so are the rest of BLG. JDG happy to go under the tower here. Look at them shred through BLG. See ya later. We're back to MSI Finals again. It's domination. And Bin TP's back in just to be set up for maybe a second quadra kill. Ruler on a triple already. I think he's bought enough time. I don't think the multi-kill will be there, but it just doesn't matter because Ruler hits double digits, 10-0 at 20 minutes.
He picks the first Kai'Sa Summer, and he's going to give it a stunning 100%
Pulls
win rate.
the trophy out of a portal. Rightly so.
This is absolute domination from JDG. They pull the trigger, and you can see on show there one of the great reasons why Ahri were great with and against the Vi. Shun goes for an absolute world tour. He gets pulled out completely out of position. Before that, of course, you've got Bin having to ult away very close to going down and fueling Knight's Magi's once more. Missing would have given him the assist on that one. Great timing from Knight to pull Shun out of position. The clear combo is not clean. Yagao can't flash to follow up, and the fight is on after that point. Resets come through. Yes, missing dice to Ignite. It's 1 kill on the board. It's just not nearly enough.
The all-out Killer Instinct combo is so scary. It's like one of those anime moments where it's like teleports behind you.
Forgive me, Master. I will have to use 100% of my power just this once.
Yeah. Now, Baron started off by JDG. I mean, what can you even say? This team is just too good. I feel like, I don't know. I'm just gushing at this point. Missing, caught out. Hey, it's a pick for BLG, but at what cost? On might sacrifice his life for this one as Knight tries to charge forwards, but no. Hey, BLG, they get something. It's in exchange for a Baron, but maybe they can get 369 as well. Ult blasted out already. All out available for him. Will use it. Try and buy space for himself. Dashes out, but no. Elk there to finish the job. And an important kill to get onto the Aphelios that is wildly behind at this point in the game. Oh no!
Damage.
Knight's arrived and they don't even get the 1 kill. Where? How? How are JDG finding extra kills here? Knight in a 1v3 now. Spirit Rush available. Has to try and find himself out of this one, but On goes down as well. You just can't do anything. Ruler taking a mid-inhib while it all goes on. JDG, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere, and they are ruthless across the map. Yeah, you get a couple of stacks away from the Ahri, but the kill at the end recovers some back. Elk isn't going to even be able to recall. It's insult to injury. JDG, this team is such a special roster.
Oh no, the quickness. Oh, he dodges away. If he'd managed to get CC, Ruler could Killer Instinct, but he stopped the reset anyway. Elk, where can you run to? Ruler is going to shred that health bar. He'll get an isolated Q as well in the alcove. Oh, Elk, there's just no way out of this one. Annihilated by the heavy, heavy wallet of Ruler.
It is non-stop aggression from JDG. Baron's down, Dragon's coming up in just a couple of seconds. BLG will get themselves first onto the map somehow because JDG find themselves with later resets after, murdering the entirety of BLG. And they're coming back out onto the map with a 4-item Kai'Sa at 23 minutes. This is a solo Q80 carry. This is not how professional players meant to go. But Ruler doesn't make you feel the difference.
Yeah. I love as well that we just saw Knight get killed at the end of the previous play. He still had 15 stacks. He lost 10 of them. He just hit max stacks in the previous play when he killed On just before going down. He's still, even after dying, got the bonus from the movement, from the 10 stacks. He's still in a phenomenal position. JDG now taking control of the entire map. 2 Drakes in their favor. Still got 30 seconds on the Baron. I've kind of forgotten that Baron even happened. Did that happen in a replay or something?
Given how quickly Kai'Sa can kill that thing, it's your guess as good as mine. That's a ward they're highlighting. It's been spotted out by a control ward. That might have been one of the few remaining Hail Marys BLG had. But again, the last time they tried to go for a snap engage, the follow-up was too much. They don't even get the chance this time.
Blitzcrank is meant to be the one picking you, not the other way around. Knight goes over the wall. Wants a charm. As 369 jumps in as well, trying to put pressure in the mid lane as the inhib is down. We saw Ruler grabbing that one. Before is now Baron falls off. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that JDG really needed the Baron in the first place. The 10k gold up, Knight with a flash charm, won't find it. Shun, though, loses half of his health as the Cyclone comes on in. Ruler frozen on the backside. Moonlight Vigil is there, but Elk doesn't have the damage. Oh, knocked up. Ruler's in trouble. Will be taken down. No! The tower shot can't finish it. Static Shiv almost does. But he somehow gets out with his life. It's a perfect scoreline as Elk falls down. 369 gets another. And there we have it, Ruler with a perfect game. The score is 24-7, just like the games of the LPL. JDG, they tie up Top Esports in first place, and they put the first loss on the board for BLG.
JDG just toyed with our undefeated 6-0 team. BLG looked